Well, we're happily married.
Congrats, man.
Honestly, without your coaching, I would not have met the girl who's now my wife. You just make it a fun experience for everyone. Even if she rejects you, just make it a fun experience. And I think that's honestly, Robbie, that's one of the key characteristics that really differentiates you the most from the other dating services. And of course, I couldn't do that without Robbie and team's help.
I'm here with Cedric, and you went through coaching with me in my program. What was it, like a year ago?
Yeah.
You're now engaged?
Well, we're happily married.
Oh, happily married. My bad. Congrats, man.
Thank you.
Tell me kind of what was the biggest thing you got out of the coaching and whether or not that was responsible for your marriage.
100%. Your coaching was, honestly, without your coaching, I would not have met the girl who's now my wife. So I started, so just a bit of background, I started training with Robbie, I think it was about a year and a half ago when I met this girl. And at the time, I think I was really at one of the lowest lows in terms of dating life. So at the time, I was 30 years old. I just got out. I was actually still living in my mom's basement. I just got a job and everything. So things were just starting to pick up. And I was dating girls in San Francisco, and that was honestly a big dent on my confidence. And then I met this girl who was really down to earth. But because of my mentality, I was way too serious and way too hardcore. I think I often scare girls away. So I saw this one girl I really like, who's this girl that I'm married to. And I just didn't quite know how to approach it. And with Robbie's help, and well, actually it was Nick, who was at the front line. With everyone's help, I was able to, I guess, successfully navigate through the dating dynamics.
Yeah, man. So yeah, I remember you were working with my assistant coach, Nick, going back and forth. And how'd you guys meet?
We met online through a dating app. I was on a short trip here to Toronto. Oh, actually, I'm originally from Toronto. I was just working in San Francisco. And it was actually at that time, by the time I met this guy, I already had a few chats with Nick. So the biggest, I think, if we were to say what was part of the biggest change was that you guys taught me to kind of make it, instead of approaching it as like as a daunting task, maybe just say, okay, what's the value you're offering here? You just make it a fun experience for everyone. Even if she rejects you, just make it a fun experience. And I think that's honestly, Robbie, that's one of the key characteristics that really differentiates you the most from the other dating services. Just being able to have those fun, playful, lighthearted interactions. Yeah, and actually that changed that actually. So for example, when we're on dating apps, like what do you say, right? It's often a very serious conversation. Like you often go into interview mode. Hey, where are you from? Oh, I'm from there as well. What's your favorite food? What's your favorite part of it? Right. So instead, we changed the mentality. Let's just make it like a one-man show, or kind of like one-man show, right? You're trying to give a bit of a stand-up comedy. It's like, hey, I know this. So for example, I can tell that my opener with my wife. So so she said in her bio that she had a bit of mood swings, right? So this is actually, I'm so sorry. You taught me this. So she said, she has big mood swings, and when she's really down or she's really frustrated, she prefers to be left alone. And as someone who's like an anxious type, this is a big deal for me. But you told me to turn it around and say, you know what? I totally understand it. If you want to be left alone, get some space, I totally get it. I'll just go play some games, and I'll come and check back with you in, let's say, 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. And that just really. She's like, wow, she started opening up after. I was like, wow, if you do that, I might as well just not come back at all. But she said it in a very playful way. So. Yeah, I remember now. That was, the one thing I'm pissed about is, where's my wedding invite, bro? We are actually so broke right now. Right? Like we barely had enough with our parents' help, we barely had enough for the down payment of the house, and we have a big mortgage. So she wanted a big wedding. I was like, and even she has changed that idea. Like we're probably gonna do this years down the road. Well, at least you're not living at your mom's basement anymore. So. That's a big step forward. Yeah. And just so people know, what do you do for a living? So I work as a data analyst at a startup that is based in San Francisco, but I work remotely. You totally fall into almost all the guys in my group and community are software, IT, engineers of some sort. Except they make a lot more than me. So at least they have the money card to play. I make like half of what they make. Well, yeah. Well, got to work on that money game next now that the dating game is solved. Yes. Why was the reason you decided to coach with me versus, the other guys out there? I guess it simply boils down to, I guess, two things. One is the result, one is the experience. So of course, the results speak so for themselves. Like I can totally. But the one thing I want to stress here is that during while I was with, I guess, in the initial stage with this girl, I was literally calling Nick at the last minute and you as well. I got you guys both online. It's like talked for like 2 hours straight, and but you guys were very patient. You guys were there with me. You understood my frustrations. And so that's that level of support. I guess that's part of the experience, but the experience led to good results. Of course, it's not going to happen every time. Sometimes you got to like not all like say not all girls you talk to will lead to a home run, but this one it really is one that really matters, right? So that's one thing. Another thing is I've often found that this is my personal struggle. I often found there is often a disconnect between mindset and technique with other dating. I've been through a lot. I spent more than $10,000 dating stuff since my college years, and often so you got one school of thought that really focuses on technique. Goes, I gotta say certain things, and the other is like what you say doesn't matter. It's all about your mindset. But then I found that okay, I know his mindset is the core, but how do you make that transpire? Like how does a good mindset come across? Right? You tell me to make it relaxing, make it enjoyable for the girl. Like how, right? So whereas with you and Nick, I found that I was able to connect the two, right? So it's like one way to really create like not come across as needy, because I'm not afraid to admit this, but I come across as needy really seriously, like and so to relax. Okay, if I just remember to relax, like what exactly am I doing to relax? Right? When you tell me, okay, turn that slightly into a joke or something like that, and this is how exactly you turn it into a joke. For example, exaggerate. That is really like what do you call it? Like implementable, right? It's something very tangible. So that connect between theory or inner game and outer game. That's one thing that really stood out.
Good, man. Well, hopefully you're applying the principles to your marriage, because you never get to, if you fall asleep at the wheel, then you start having problems in the relationship. So you always have to remember a few tenets, like everything she does is cute. That's one of my favorites, right? When you're dealing with your wife's crazy mood swings, because they all have them, right? But
actually, that's a very good point, Rob. Sorry to interject here. So the techniques are still applicable in marriage. So for example, we because we're doing a lot of things together. For example, we're shopping the house here, we're doing renovations together. Like any two, they're gonna have very different ideas, right? For example, I want to go minimalist. She want to go make it very colorful. So now, then when we argue, then she gets really depressed. So sometimes like if I could make her laugh during that time when she's like shutting herself down because she's the avoidant type, right? If I could make her laugh using her technique, then all the conversations after would be so much easier. But sometimes the anxious type side of me still comes out. She's like, okay, why like we tackle it very seriously, right? So that part of me is still working on it, but I do realize that the technique, if I could somehow make her laugh, like say by over exaggerating it, then that just makes the all the conflict resolution so much easier.
It brings back the connection piece of the pie. And
yes,
the one caveat, I guess what I said earlier, if you're like everything she does is cute, obviously you have to have a backbone too. But I find that when I'm arguing with my wife or getting into these petty arguments, that's really the problem. And so if you just keep it fun and keep it light and don't get too serious about things, that tends to work in dating, whether it's a new lead or your partner. So is there anything else that for someone who's considering doing the program versus something else, would you have anything to say to that guy?
So I recommend, first of all, Robbie's team, because I guess the tip if you're a part of you're kind of like me in the sense that we're all like geeks, we're a little bit too logical, like too much on the logical side, and who is like, we're not socially awkward, but we just don't know, probably when we scare girls off. Let's just put it like that, right? With being too hardcore and stuff. So then definitely this is one of the programs, because I'm just speaking from my personal experience. I fall into classic geek category. And another thing is not all it's a numbers game in the end, in that you're going to have to try a few targets to eventually land on one that, I guess, on the one that you like. So, or I don't know how to put it. You gotta try with it with a few girls. Like the same technique might not work on another girl. Yeah. And another thing is, I guess with Robbie, like one thing I did enjoy that really, I personally I enjoyed a lot, was that, okay, we know that sometimes we say it's not true, it's the girls' problem. Like I want to share a bit about Like for example, my wife's experience, for example, she only started taking the dating seriously after like a few years. Like before that, she was like just even if a cute guy were to walk up to her and say, "Hey, would you like to take you out for a date?" Even though she likes the guy, she would say no. And do you know why?
Why?
It is because she was so engrossed in her studies and her part-time job, and it's like every weekend she just doesn't want to go out. She just wants to go back and sleep. So only when she started taking it seriously, for example, she even got the premium dating membership, right? And she was only when like sometimes it's just not you. But how do you get over that, right? How do you get over it? You need a kind of very supportive team that says, okay, you know what? Let's not treat every situation as a hunt. I guess as it's in our genetics, right? Back in the caveman days, we're just hunting or whatever. So if you treat it as a hunt, it's way too serious. But if you treat it as okay, let's treat it as a learning experience, but a fun learning experience. That helps me get over the rejections and everything a lot easier. And of course, that I couldn't do that without Robbie and team's help.
Awesome. Well, dude, Cedric, congrats on your relationship and you did the hard work, man. You invested, you joined the program, and you did what you had to do. And I love hearing a success story like this. So thanks a million.
It was my pleasure. And I'm so glad that I was able to work with you guys. Yeah.
For sure, brother.